In addition to being the principal at Del Oro, I get to be a parent here as well. And so I get to see the parent side of the grade book. And I know that there can be some things that are kind of confusing in there as a parent. So what I want to do today is kind of talk you through what you might see as a parent looking at the grade book.
First thing you see here is I'm logged in as a parent, and I can look at Integrated Math 1. I see under each title of the assignment, I have this T or F. F meaning foundational, which is the 10% category, and T meaning target, which is the 90% category. So that's under the description. I'll see T and F for almost all the assignments. We'll get to these last three in a second. Next thing in the category, I see PS1, which is proficiency scale 1, and so I see 3 assignments in that category right now. One of them is target and 2 are foundational, and then I can see the scores, 3.5s for these top 2 and then a 4 for this one. Proficiency scale 2, it looks like we've got 2 assignments in there so far, which are foundational, 3.5s for those 2 foundational assignments. And then there's a test, which is coming up here, which is it hasn't been scored yet. So that's a couple things about the assignments and the categories here. When I look down at these last 3, I see that the category is Show What You Know quiz. And then when I scroll down on the same page, I see all of the proficiency scales, 1 through 12. They're each worth 8% of the final grade. And then I see this Show What You Know quiz category at the bottom, and that's 0%, meaning the teacher's still going to score it, still going to put it in the grade book, but it's just helpful information for a student or for me as a parent when I can look in and see my student is either doing these things or they're doing them well, but it's not actually counting toward their final grade. What I see in here is I see for proficiency scale 1, I've got the summative, the 90% category or the T category, target, is at a 3.5%. For the formative or the F category, that's a 3.75. So that's the 10% category. That averages to a 3.52. So the student has an A in that first proficiency scale, or 3.52. For the second proficiency scale, right now it's just formative. So just those formative ones, it's a 3.5 and an A. So that totals to an A down here. This last category, remember, even though it's a 4.0, it's not equating in that overall average. So that's the first grade book. Next, I'm going to go into block 2, Spanish, and I'll see a couple other things in here. So I see the F and the T, meaning foundational and target. Remember, foundational is 10%, target is 90%. I see categories here, proficiency scale 1, 3, 5, 6, and then a category called habits of work. That habits of work category, this teacher has set that up as the 0% category at the bottom. So anything in this category, like signing the syllabus, that signature of the syllabus, of course, isn't attached to any of the learning scales. So it's worth 0%, but it's still helpful information to know, did this get done? 6 categories in here, all equally weighted. And I can see a couple things. When I see that red box, it means that that assignment is missing. And I can see the teachers put in a comment that says absent, able to make up. So right now, this student has, for proficiency scale 1, there's only one assignment in there. It's foundational, and it's missing. So when I come down here to proficiency scale 1, I see that my student has an NC, a no credit, which is, that's what used to be called an F in that first scale. And understandably, the student hasn't done that yet, so they're at a no credit there. They've got work in 3 other scales, so they've got averaging out to a 3 in this scale here, a 2 in scale 5, and a 3 in scale 6, and then this habits of work category, they've got full credit there. So in this one, the average is a 2.80, which equals a B. Now, if it were the end of the term, this student would not be passing, because even though the average is a B, they have not passed all the scales. So I'm confident that this student will be able to make this up and be able to pass that scale, but at this point, if it were the end of the term, they'd have an incomplete, because they would still need to make up that scale there. We'll look at one more class here. This is English 9. Right now, you see English 9, it's all foundational, sorry. All foundational assignments, no target assignments yet. It's all in proficiency scale 2, and this student is doing really, really well. So you look down here, you've got the formative average, that's at 4. So right now they have a 4, an A. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if this teacher has a target assignment in this category right here, let's say that target assignment goes in today, and this particular student, instead of getting a 4 on it, let's say they got a 2 or even a 1.5, their grade would go down significantly because that one target assignment would be the only thing in that 90% category.
So that's how you see it when you're looking at it on a desktop computer, but lots of us are also looking at it on our phone. So here's what it looks like from the phone.
So when I log in on a phone, I can see all the classes and grades, and then when I click on math, I can scroll through and see all of the proficiency scales and the corresponding grades for those. And then if I click on that first scale, I can see the assignments with the T or the F for target or foundational in that scale. In Spanish, I can see the same, all the different grades for the different scales, and I can even go deep into an assignment and see the comment that says absent, able to make up in there. And then looking at English, I can see the same, only assignments in one scale so far.
So we're about a quarter of the way through the first term, and grades are starting to become a little more solidified. So as you look in your student's grade book and you start to kind of piece together what you're seeing in there, please don't hesitate to reach out to teachers or have your students reach out to teachers to ask questions and let us know how we can help. I get to be a parent at Del Oro High School as well. I felt like I said Del Oro.